So I'm going to talk about the biggest moment for me where everything just clicked in my dating life and I just became dialed in and really knew what I was doing. And I'll get into that in a second, but it mainly the dynamic between nice guys and the bad boys. First, you need to understand what it is about the nice guys that causes them to struggle, and at the same time, what it is about the bad boys that help them get laid. So let's go over that first. I mean, there's some obvious things like relating to confidence. Nice guys, they'll put women on pedestals. They'll just, they don't have the experience. They don't have the emotional stability, that kind of stuff. Bad boys are outcome independent, which means essentially that they're not so reactive, that they're generally going to be kind of laid back, chill, just kind of like a vibe that is, kind of smart to go for, that they're just coming along for the ride. Like you're chill. You're not going to stress her out. You're just a fun person to be around, and you enjoy the time that you spend together, and you're not controlling or needy or anything like that. And you don't chase. Of course, appearance is a huge thing, and you want to seem better in bed. Hopefully you are better in bed than the nice guy, but that's a really important thing. And that relates back to your confidence, your overall vibe. Maybe you have a bit of swagger, just an essence about you. And that does take some time to really nail in, and really goes back to confidence, which goes back to experience, success that comes from experience. And, just not being reactive. Like if your girl's talking to another guy, or if things don't go your way, you're chill. Like that's just, you're immediately almost putting yourself into like the 1% when you're getting to that level of just being a guy that's you just end up standing out because you're not controlling, you're not needy, you're not like blowing up her phone, you're not just doing this, you're doing that, you're just fun. Like she wants to be with you because there's no negative experiences associated with you ever. And I mean, that's a big part of it. So you got to take, don't do the really bad nice guy stuff of like overly romantic gestures or stuff. You could still, of course, show a girl that she means well, or that you mean a lot to her, and you can still compliment her. You can, if you want to buy her something, sure, but like, no, like if you just started seeing a girl, don't buy her a bunch of gifts. Don't buy her flowers and shit like that. Like you don't want to be romantic. I'd say keep the romanticism for like when you're actually dating her, but still don't go over the top with it. Just like she should know that you mean a lot to her, and your actions on a daily basis of how you hold yourself and interact with her should reflect that. And then on top of it, you can buy her some stuff if you really want to. But being a nice guy, it does have some advantages. If you are a nice guy, lean into that. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be a pushover. It doesn't mean, you just have to be some beta, for a lack of a better word. Essentially, what I always, whether intentionally or not, I always kind of came across as if I was like equal parts boyfriend material and player. And when I mean player, not like intentionally going out and, or not even intentionally, like hurting other women and like, hurting, not like physically obviously, but like just using them for sex, whatever. But like I'm a guy that gets laid a lot. I'm a guy that has options, and a guy that's good with women. I'm a guy that's good in bed, but I also am a genuinely good person. Like I genuinely like mean well, and I don't want to hurt her, and I don't want, I'm not afraid to ghost a girl if she's not taking me seriously, if she's like wanting to get chased, next, like you move on immediately. Like you don't put up with shit. And that dynamic is actually completely like real, because, a lot of guys just think it's one or the other. They're just like nice, and they have no experience, and they just don't know how to interact with women, and then they'll default to some nice guy behavior that's just emotionally unstable. Or there's the other end where guys are players and they're just trying to use women for sex, but there is that middle ground, and it's so much better because you can attract the women who just want to hook up because they get that vibe from you that you're good in bed, that you're a fun time. Because if a girl wants to hook up, like a one night stand, she wants you to be good in bed. She wants you to know what you're doing. She wants maybe some future material in her own spank bank, that she wants to have fun, and that for you to fulfill her needs. And you want to, again, I can't really give you some one-on-one actionable steps other than just experience and just keep putting yourself up there. But it's just a vibe that you just know what you're doing, but you can still be a legitimately, genuinely good person that wants the best, that doesn't want to hurt girls, that doesn't use them. If I were to only want to hook up with the girls, then I only want to go after those girls who are willing to do that and want the same thing as me. Obviously, you don't always know that off the bat, that you kind of have to just float in that middle ground, but you don't want to mislead them. And I know a lot of guys don't do that because they don't have a lot of options, and they don't have a lot of options for a variety of reasons, typically because they don't actually try hard enough to put themselves out there to meet a lot of women. And that's the gist of it. And really, if you can find that middle ground, it's really not a middle ground. It's like you're optimizing the best things of being a bad boy and the best things of being a good guy, a nice guy. And you can just rise above because you have that many more options. And it really, a big part of it also too, I used to just try to act in a way that I thought was cool, that I thought, that girls wanted, and I was never comfortable around myself. And, I remember, it's really kind of silly. There was a moment where I was watching Californication, and this was so many years ago, and I don't know if I was like watching it for the sake. The protagonist, Hank Moody, he was a guy, gets laid a lot, and I don't think I was like trying to model myself after him or whatever, but even though the show was fiction, obviously, there was a moment where he was like in a bar or something, and there was music playing, and some girl went up to him and asked to dance, and his response was, "Hanky, don't dance." And that might seem completely irrelevant and not at all likely that I would be able to get a lot from that, but it kind of like blew my mind, because my mindset was like, okay, the version of me that gets laid a lot would do things like that would be capable of dancing. That, I never liked it. I never really liked dancing, but I thought it was something that I should do. That if I didn't do, it's because I was nervous, or because, I was scared, I was uncomfortable. And maybe part of that's true, but it's just like owning that, no, I don't want to do this. And I should just be who I am. And if I don't want to put myself in certain positions because I think a girl might like that, it just doesn't make sense. And that simple "Hanky, don't dance" kind of changed things for me. It's like, oh yeah, I can just be who I am. I can accept who I am. I don't have to do things that I think a version of me that could get laid would do, if that makes sense. And it probably doesn't, but it's really what I mean when I say to like be yourself and not act in a way that you think a girl might like. But I'm getting way off the rails here, but that's essentially it. If you're a nice guy, lean into that, because you can really stand out, and just don't do the typical nice guy things, because they're really not going to get you anywhere. Peace.